Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, November the 2nd, 2020, the eve of the U.S. elections. And I think it's only appropriate on the eve of the elections that we talk about the forces at hand in our society that are trying to render elections meaningless. And really, for centuries, have developed the ways in which to render elections meaningless and to control the masses, irregardless of who is elected. And we have seen this year that people in the United States, whether they're in a Republican-controlled area or a Democrat-controlled area, have faced unconstitutional restrictions on assembly, on religion, on movement. We've got contract tracers tracing people and quarantining them with under no law, no legal right whatsoever. And so we're going to be discussing how this has become possible, and we're going to be naming some names. And so if you look throughout the history of the especially the 20th century, you can see the complete abysmal failure that centralized planning and control has always had. You know, the Soviet Union in the 1930s resulted in a massive famine, killing 10 million people in the Ukraine. The same thing in Mao Zedong's China in the late 50s. The Great Famine killed maybe 35 million people. We saw what happened, in Germany in the 1930s when they had total centralized control. And so it really doesn't matter whether it's communism or what they call fascism. Those are both methods of total centralized control. Whereas communism, the government owns everything. And in fascism, ostensibly, they're privately owned businesses. But nobody can ever be successful in any business unless they're a member of the party and toe the party line and are basically embedded with the government's goals. And so as we look what's happening today, we see it's all a part of a system that monarchs and the feudal system developed over centuries in order to control people, to make it to where you have to seek permission to produce anything. And, we've seen business closures all over the United States because they don't have permission. They get threatened to lose their license if they want more than 10 people in their restaurant, or if they want to be able to operate their property at capacity. And this has really been a big push by certain forces. And we're going to take a look at some of the ways in which they do this. Really, they seek to control people irregardless of who is elected through three primary methods. One is by controlling the finance, controlling the money system, and the issuance of fiat credit. And two is by controlling the bureaucracies. And three is sort of a Soviet system of controlling the people through creating regional councils and catchment councils and this kind of forum and that kind of forum, where ostensibly they pick key members of any industry and have them go to these councils to decide everything for everyone. But anybody that goes to one of those and doesn't toe the party line simply comes under attack. And it's just a sort of a Soviet system of government. And you can see this all throughout our education and academia systems today, where they're pushing what they call the triple bottom line, which supposedly, it's the three E's, as Karl Marx used to call it, the environment, the economy, and the ecosystems, so here they talk about the planet, the profit, and the people, and they seek to find that utopian situation right in the middle where we're sustainable. But the important thing to think about whenever they're pushing this triple bottom line is to understand who gets to decide what is sustainable and who isn't. Because our government was founded on the idea that everyone had the right to own property and to and to have the right to pursue their own happiness and trade with other people. And they and their customers get to decide what is sustainable, but not in this system they're developing. Because when they push the triple bottom line and they say we're going to have sustainable development, they're the ones that get to decide. And they get to decide because of a complicated system of accreditation schemes and licensing and so forth. And they have developed a system of controlling the bureaucracy in the United States in the same way that they've done in the Commonwealth countries. This is what's called the Senior Executive Service, which came into being in 1979 under Carter, and it really controls all of the executive branch of our government, which is massive. And this is the Office of Personnel Management. If you look in here, this is from Wikipedia, and it talks about 10% of the senior officials in the United States can be politically appointed, and there has to be at least 50% that are not politically appointed. So in other words, the electorate can have no control. The bureaucracy has control, not the electorate. And they're the United States ostensibly separated from in 1776, but now is coming back more under the control of these systems. And they're going to be pushing to get the United States, as well as most countries, and to expand this Commonwealth of Nations in what they call the Great Reset. And we've seen this last year with the pandemic that it was completely planned. They had a big planning session in 2019 headed up by Johns Hopkins Universities, which has a lot of connectedness to the British royal family. And they planned how they would respond to this pandemic. They planned how they would control the media response. They planned how they would identify key influencers and control the message that we needed total government control as a result of this coronavirus. Coronavirus is just one of many families of viruses that have caused respiratory disease in humans every year. But yet, this year they're pushing us, and they're doing this to try to get us towards this great reset.
We have a golden opportunity to seize something good from this crisis. Its unprecedented shockwaves may well make people more receptive to big visions of change, and global crises like pandemics and climate change know no borders and highlight just how interdependent we are as one people sharing one planet. Over the past month or so, despite the ongoing crisis, I've been encouraged to see the growing calls for a green recovery. We need only look to the United Nations Secretary General, to the IMF, the EU, the Petersburg Climate Dialogue, the Canadian government, the COP26 Universities Network, and business leaders around the world to see this. And as we move from rescue to recovery, therefore, we have a unique but rapidly shrinking window of opportunity to learn lessons and reset ourselves on a more sustainable path. It is an opportunity we have never had before and may never have again. So we must use all the levers we have at our disposal, knowing that each and every one of us has a vital role to play. Everything I've tried to do and urge over the past 50 years has been done with our children and grandchildren in mind. So I can only encourage us all to think big and act now.
So Prince Charles talks there about how he's been working on this for 50 years, working on plans through controlling private enterprise, and they control private enterprise through licensing, through finance, and various activities, and they're planning on this global economic reset. To start in January, where they'll be pushing to get the world onto a global digital currency, which they will be able to control, and much like the Chinese have already done, where they have social credits, and they have phones, and if you're approved, you can get on this train, or you can buy this meal, or you can go speak here. And if you're not, you can only do one of those three, or two of those three, or the bureaucrats get to decide who goes where and who does what and who eats what. And that's what they're pushing us towards. And they're using this pandemic. They're talking about the importance of using this pandemic to get us to the global reset. And they say in almost everything that they do how the pandemic is connected to climate change. And that should tell you everything you need to know about the climate change and this pandemic and what's dropped. Because scientifically, how is a virus connected to the theory that greenhouse gases heat the planet? It's not at all. But it is connected. It's absolutely connected, because both of these things are not scientific. Both of them are to push us towards total centralized control. So that's what's at stake here. And it's not just about the election. Because it doesn't matter who we elect, if we allow this cancerous growth of bureaucracy to continue, they will control whoever we elect. So the stakes are very critical. History has shown us what happens when we have total centralized control, and we have some very effective forces with a lot of knowledge how to implement centralized control that are making a big push right now. So I hope that you'll all remember this. I hope that you have a good and safe day, election day tomorrow. I will be going out, 4 a.m. in the morning to do my civic duty and help ensure we have a fair election tomorrow. But I hope Matt's News Network, we will be getting a report out with our analysis of the polls. And, our analysis of the polling data indicates something much different than the mainstream media